Tonight on Cronkite News, we have the latest from the 2024 presidential election, what Vice President Harris has to say about her loss.
Plus, the latest from the hotly contested U.S. Senate race in Arizona. We have reactions from both candidates.
And how a club in northern Arizona preserves the traditions of logging sports. Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News. I'm DeAndre Sanders.
And I'm Kayla Marinault. Thank you for joining us.
After months of campaigning, we finally have declared a winner of the presidential election, President-elect Donald Trump.
He was elected early this morning after winning important battleground states. Trump is now the first former president to regain power since 1892. Earlier this evening, Vice President Kamala Harris made a speech conceding the 2024 presidential race.
Now I know folks are feeling and experiencing a range of emotions right now. I get it. But we must accept the results of this election. Earlier today, I spoke with President-elect Trump and congratulated him on his victory. I also told him that we will help him and his team with their transition, and that we will engage in a peaceful transfer of power.
Harris's speech comes after failing to win the 7 battleground states. To celebrate the second presidency, members of Trump's family and his running mate, J.D. Vance, joined on stage in West Palm Beach, Florida.
So I want to thank the American people for the extraordinary honor of being elected your 47th president and your 45th president.
Although the presidency is declared, votes are still being counted. We have Sam Dayton at the touchscreen to give us the latest numbers.
Yeah, thanks, Kayla. Well, let's take a look at what we thought going into election night. Of course, red here, Republican, blue here, Democratic. Most importantly, these yellow states, Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania up here, North Carolina, Georgia down here, and out west, Nevada and Arizona. Of course, the ever so critical battleground states. Let's take a look at what actually happened. Here's the latest results we can give you. And of course, the first thing that jumps off the map, both figuratively and literally, is the whole lot of red, especially in these battleground states, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, all going in the favor of Trump. Same with North Carolina and Georgia. That's 44 votes, or electoral votes right up there, 32 down here. And out west, still waiting on the results from Nevada and Arizona, but it's looking like it's going to go red. Donald Trump, a 4% lead in Arizona as it stands. We'll show you exactly why. Maricopa County, one of the biggest counties in the state as it stands. Trump is doing very well there. He's got about a 2% lead over Kamala Harris, and down at Tucson and at Flagstaff, Kamala doing well, but it's not going to be enough probably to push it back in the favor of blue. Tell you what, it's not going to matter so much as Donald Trump's already hit that 270 mark, and he's looking to do even more damage potentially with Arizona and Nevada. With that, we'll send it back to you guys.
Thank you, Sam, with those latest numbers. The Arizona Senate race is gaining national attention as early results show Democrat Ruben Gallego in the lead. Both Gallego and Republican Kari Lake campaigned hard, each hoping to win over votes from all sides. Aaron Nemiroff is live in Phoenix and has more on where the candidates stand.
At the Democratic Watch Party last night, Ruben Gallego expressed his gratitude to all voters across party lines, reaffirming his commitment to represent all Arizonans if elected. With his lead holding steady, Gallego's message focused on unity and the future of Arizona.
Even though our race isn't quite over yet, I still want to thank all Arizonans who supported me, Democrats, Republicans, and Independents. And to those who didn't, I want you to know that regardless of who you voted for today, I will stand up and fight for you.
Gallego says that despite political differences, most people share a common goal: creating a better future for the next generation.
Whether you're a Democrat, Republican, or Independent, we all want the same thing: a better life for our kids, and to give our kids a better future. It's just that simple.
On the morning of Election Day, Republican candidate Kari Lake visited a polling station to connect with voters and address media concerns. Known for expressing doubts about election processes in the past, Lake reaffirmed her intent to accept the results this time, despite some lingering concerns.
I will accept the results of the election, and I have had a few concerns, but we've done a lot of legwork to prevent any problems.
At the time of this recording, the Secretary of State's office reports Gallego leading Kari Lake, with Gallego at 50.4% and Lake at 47.6%, a decision that will influence the state's direction for years to come. In Phoenix, Aaron Nemiroff, Cronkite News.
Thanks, Aaron. The latest numbers in the newsroom say Gallego is leading with 50% and Lake is trailing with 48% from 61% of the reported voters.
Another big area of concern for voters here in Arizona is the issue of abortion. And Proposition 139, which creates a right to abortion in the Arizona Constitution, was passed by voters. But as Macy Markham reports, the abortion rights vote may not have helped Democrats as much as expected.
7 out of 10 states with abortion rights initiatives on the ballot approved those measures, including in Arizona. But at the same time, Republicans won control of the Senate and the Oval Office.
The Democrats really overplayed their hand nationally and in swing states, both in congressional races, Senate races, and the presidential race, thinking that leaning in on the abortion issue was going to carry Harris over the line and keep their Democrat majority in the Senate.
The results indicate that many voters split their ballots, voting to protect and expand abortion rights while also supporting candidates who want more restrictions.
Having abortion on the ballot allows pro-choice Republicans to vote for their preferred candidate, who's a Republican, Trump, and also support abortion rights separately by voting yes on the ballot measure.
Exit polling from the 2022 midterms showed that a third of Arizona voters listed abortion at the top of their priority list. Democrats were counting on backlash to the Supreme Court's Dobbs decision to drive up turnout on their side on Tuesday, but it seems that backlash has fizzled.
Everybody's refighting the 2022 elections. Well, it's not the 2022 elections. You don't have the same shock to the system. The election isn't taking place 90 days after the Dobbs decision or 120 days after Dobbs.
Proposition 139 will override the state's current 15-week ban, allowing abortion through roughly week 24 of pregnancy. In Washington, Macy Markham, Cronkite News.
The final numbers are still being tabulated, but Prop 139 is passing with 61% of the vote. That's with about 60% of ballots counted so far. The stakes are high for ASU's women's volleyball.
It will be a showdown at Mullen Arena tonight between two top 15 teams. We'll have you ready for tonight's game between the Sun Devils and the Kansas Jayhawks.
Plus, the weather has been getting pretty chillier here lately. We'll give you an update on the weather forecast after the break.
The scientists and engineers that support the next mission to Mars could be in this class.
Getting a degree at ASU is a journey that can take you anywhere. Into a world of groundbreaking technology and renowned award-winning faculty. Professors who help you to impact the world. Whether you're on campus or at home, becoming your best starts with learning from the best.
The nickname, the Lumberjacks, isn't just a moniker of Northern Arizona University sports teams. It's a tradition that reflects the roots of forestry practices in the North Woods.
And as Cronkite News reporter Lauren Avenatti found out, it's also a college club that competes in the sport of logging.
Deep in the Centennial Forest, surrounded by trees as far as the eye can see, you'll find lumberjacks hard at work in the great outdoors. Northern Arizona University lumberjacks, that is, who are all members of the NAU Logging Sports Club.
Nice. We are the NAU Lumberjacks. That's who we are as a school. That's our school mascot. So it only makes sense for logging sports to sort of emulate that. And so what we do is we cut cookies at football games. We're just sort of overall like mascots.
The team was founded shortly after NAU's School of Forestry was established in 1958. Due to lack of interest, the club was disbanded for over 20 years before it was restored in 2008. In this revival period, the club preserves the history and traditions of logging sports while incorporating modern techniques and tools.
The techniques that we use in our events are the same ones that lumberjacks would have used before the invention of things like chainsaws, feller bunchers, and all the big heavy machinery you see out in the woods.
The team participates in several competitions a year against other schools on the West Coast. These competitions include events such as sawing, chopping, tree climbing, axe throwing, and more. Traveling for these competitions often fosters a strong sense of camaraderie among participants.
You stay in a tent with them and you eat breakfast with them every day, you know, and it just feels like family. You get to know these people so well.
The NAU Logging Sports Club encourages those of all skill levels to join. So if you're like me and haven't held an axe until this very moment, you too can give it a whack.
I know a lot of our members, our current members that are on the team now, prior to joining the team had never really touched logging equipment. Some of us had never even really spent time out in the woods.
The club prides itself on this inclusivity, with members expressing gratitude for the safe haven it has provided for them at such a large institution.
I was born with a severe hearing loss, and just making new friends has always been a challenge, but these people have definitely taken me in.
This is an exciting year for the team, as this is the first year since 2017 that NAU is hosting a competition at Hospodarsky Arena. Just the start of a new era for an old-fashioned sport in modern times. Let's go! In Flagstaff, Lauren Avenatti, Cronkite News.
Thank you, Lauren. That looks like a lot of work there. Temperatures have definitely started to cool down this month, but you can never be too sure with the forecast here in the valley.
It's starting to kind of feel like Flagstaff down here. Sienna Monet joins us now from the Cronkite Weather Center with what we could expect.
Yeah, so this morning was pretty chilly. Our lows were 5 to 10 degrees below normal for this time of year. But right now we are sitting at some nice cool temperatures. It's 64 degrees. It's going to start to dip down to 61 at 9 p.m. And then at about 10 p.m. we're going to be in the 50s. For our low temperatures, overnight lows are going to be in the 40s here in the Valley metro area, 46 here in Phoenix, 36 down in Tucson. And then up at the Grand Canyon, we're going to have 13 as our lowest low across the state. And looking across the state for our high temperatures, we're talking about highs here. Make sure to bring out those sweaters because we're going to be in the 60s here. 68 in Phoenix, 58 down in Tucson. And then up north, it's going to be 39 in Flagstaff and 53 up in Page. And we are going to be seeing some breezy and windy conditions throughout the state, especially here in Phoenix. We're going to be sitting at 9 miles per hour for wind speeds, but that's going to start to draw back at around Thursday at about 5:30 where it's going to be 3 miles per hour. And going into your weekend, we're going to have temperatures in the 70s that are going to be well below normal. On Saturday, it's going to be a high of 75 and a low of 46. And then going into the rest of your weekend, we're going to be near to, warm and normal temperatures back on Sunday. We're going to have a high of 81 degrees. And then on your Veterans Day, it's going to be the perfect day to go check out the Veterans Day parade. Take your family members out to their favorite restaurant, sit on the patio. You're going to have a high of 81 degrees and a low of 50. And then going back into your work week, we're going to be in the 70s for just a bit. And and then we're going to nudge up to 81 degrees on Thursday. I'm Sienna Monet from the Cronkite Weather Center, sending it back to you.
Thank you, Sienna. Perfect weather for a barbecue. Coming up next, baseball is coming back to the Olympics in 2028.
Team USA, however, is already underway training in Tempe. After the break, how both ASU and USA baseball teams are getting ready for their competitions together.
The scientists and engineers that support the next mission to Mars could be in this class.
Getting a degree at ASU is a journey that can take you anywhere. Into a world of groundbreaking technology and renowned award-winning faculty. Professors who help you to impact the world. Whether you're on campus or at home, becoming your best starts with learning from the best.
Welcome to the Cronkite Sports Report. I'm Jalen Weathers. After an impressive start to the season, the Cardinals now sit in first place in the NFC West. Last Sunday, their run game was on full display. Kobe Van Nort has more on how their run game was fueling their momentum.
The Cardinals' run game took center stage in their 29-9 victory over the Bears, piling over 200 yards rushing and 3 touchdowns. The ground game got going early, showcasing the Cardinals' commitment to a physical, relentless way of play.
Every time I looked up, James or Trey and Amari were just downfield, which is exciting every time you do that because it kind of deflates the energy out of a defense when you're able to run the ball however you want, whenever you want, you know?
All 3 phases have done enough to win each game, that we've won. So, and that kind of goes into, playing complementary football, whatever you have it. But I think our guys are understanding the value of every snap and how important it is to execute at a high level and then collectively play how we want to play.
The Cardinals now sit alone atop of the NFC West. They look to keep things rolling this week with a big matchup against the New York Jets. In Tempe, Kobe Van Nort, Cronkite News.
The first college football playoff rankings were released last night. Oregon, Ohio State, and Georgia headline the top 3, but the rankings don't determine the actual playoff seedings. Since the top 4 seeds go to a conference winner, Miami and BYU are ranked in the top 4 because they are currently in first place in their conference standings. As for Ohio State, they dropped to the 5th seed because they currently sit in the 2nd place spot in the Big Ten. But there's still plenty of games left to change these seedings. The Phoenix Suns are coming off a 2-point win versus the Philadelphia 76ers on Monday night. Mr. Bucket Getter himself, Kevin Durant, scored 35 points to help lead the Suns to victory. The team is currently sitting at 6-1 and is tied for 2nd place in the Western Conference standings.
We've won a lot of close games that have come down to the wire, and at the end of the game, we're executing well. We're getting stops when we need to, getting rebounds when we need to, and I kind of see our identity on both ends of the floor unfold, but early in the season, it's just about competing and closing games, and we did a really good job of that.
The Suns are looking to stay undefeated at home tonight as they host the Miami Heat. This will be the final home game before the team travels to Dallas later in the week. The U.S. National Premier 12 team came to the Valley for an exhibition game against ASU baseball. It took a solo shot in the top of the ninth to lift Team USA over the Sun Devils with the final score of 4-3. But as our Stella Ty reports, the game was just a tune-up for Team USA as they start their real international competition this Friday.
Only a few days left before the Premier 12 officially kicks off, Team USA used some practice with ASU baseball last week. This year, USA Baseball is led by 19-year MLB manager Mike Scioscia, who also coached the Tokyo 2020 Summer Olympics, where the team ended up with the silver medal.
When I did it back in Tokyo with the Olympics, it was a great experience for me, and I'm very proud to get a chance to put on the USA jersey again and hopefully lead these guys to a championship.
The team has a great blend of players, from prospects topping the MLB pipeline list to veterans with 20 MLB seasons played. However, considering how differently each player worked out during the off-season and how shortly they came to the training camp, it's gonna take some time for them to build chemistry.
Well, we need to make a quick study of our players here. We don't have them that long. We'll get in the games, and I'm sure that some of the younger guys will have questions, and some of the veterans will point them in the right direction.
Among the 4 top 100 prospects named to the Team USA's roster, Tamar Johnson is one of them. The 20-year-old infielder from the Pittsburgh Pirates has a quite busy fall schedule. Starting his off-season training in the Fall League, he's with Team USA to prepare for his first Premier 12 tournament.
Me being able to, represent my team out in the Fall League and being able to represent my country ultimately, with Team USA, so I'm excited for that.
Johnson almost became a Sun Devil as he once committed to play college baseball at ASU. But the Pirates selected a young star in the first-round 4th pick out of the 2022 MLB draft. Now, being surrounded by many players with major league experience helps speed up his process for development.
A lot of guys who's played in big leagues, and that's where I want to be. So, doing my best to learn from them and do my part, I feel like that's going to help me, further me so I can be able to, help my team win in Pittsburgh when that time comes.
Team USA will play 5 games in Mexico first. In Tempe, Stella Ty, Cronkite News.
The Super Round will take place in Tokyo. ASU women's volleyball will be competing for first place in the Big 12 at Mullet Arena tonight. The team will host Kansas, who is currently ranked at 8th in the country. The Sun Devils are currently on a 10-game win streak, however, and are ranked 11th in the country, just 3 spots behind Kansas. Arizona State is undefeated at home with a 9-0 record. And the Sun Devils are coming off 2 impressive road wins at BYU and Utah. And that is it for tonight's edition of the Cronkite Sports Report. I'm Jalen Weathers. Now back to DeAndre and Kayla.
Thank you, Jalen, for that sports report. Coming up next, Moodang took over the internet with its cuteness.
But now, there's a new cutie hippo on the scene. We'll meet a new baby hippo that's taking their place in the spotlight after the break.
When I was younger, there were no engineers around me, so I had to become my own role model. At ASU, I wasn't just learning to be an engineer, I was actually engineering. And graduating, I already had real-world jobs lined up. Before ASU, my goal was to be a strong, confident woman. And when I left, I became a strong, confident engineer.
People have always had trouble trying to put me into a box. A professor, suit and tie is just not me. Without the ocean, I don't know what I would do. The ocean's always been there for me. As Hawaiian people, we believe that the coral is the first living being to come out of the darkness. It's the foundation of our entire lifestyle, and that's what my research is about. What we do is we take photographs of the reef over long periods of time to create models that can tell us what the planet is doing. If we go deaf to what the Earth is telling us, then we'll never be able to live in harmony. If I can get my students excited about protecting the ocean, then they're the ones who are gonna really make the difference. I hope my students realize that I'm not trying to prepare them for something in the distant future. Their time is now at Arizona State University.
There's a new baby hippo that's taking the spotlight.
The baby hippo was just born at the Edinburgh Zoo in Scotland. The hippo's name is Haggis and is a pygmy hippo, which are native to West Africa and Liberia. But they are endangered and only 2,500 still exist today. Zoo officials say the first 30 days are critical for the hippo's development. So the zoo will closely monitor haggis over the coming weeks. Haggis is also the name of a traditional Scottish dish.
And that's it for tonight's edition of Cronkite News. I'm DeAndre Sanders.
And I'm Kayla Merida. Thank you for joining us.
And to see top Arizona stories anytime, log on to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.